it's time to get into a conversation regarding fuel pricing, okay? And I'm sure you must have noticed that over the period or in the recent past, fuel prices have been dropping, albeit marginally, but we have witnessed a decrease in the prices of fuel at the pumps. Okay, some will argue that the decrease is not marginal because even a peswa or half a peswa will make a difference, which I agree to, of course. But an Oliver Twist like myself will always ask for more, and so I'll call it marginal until we see a significant drop of about 2-3 cedis. That is only if it is possible. All right. So I have with me this man. I know he's going to fight me today, but we'll figure out how we're going to do that fight, whether on air or off air, after the conversation or during the conversation. But in the studio with me this morning is my good friend and brother, someone I have been serving for some time now, but today he has caught up with me in the studio. Paul Eric Ofori, he's the head of research and trading at the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC, Ghana. Paul, good morning.
I'll respond to the good morning. That's the good part.
But
the others will reserve it for now. So I want to hold on to now for now.
Paul, how have you been?
It's been great. It's been great. And how have you been yourself?
Oh, okay. I see you're looking good.
Well, it's just by grace.
The lines are falling in
divine selection this morning. And I can see the cheeks are all,
No, it's the head that is confusing you. There's no cheeks anywhere.
Let's reserve that for now.
Anyway, so like I mentioned earlier, we're going into the conversation regarding fuel prices. Well, we've seen some consecutive significant drops. What is contributing to this?
Well, thank you. Accumulatively, we've seen about 25-26% since the second window of February. And all the way consistently, we have witnessed, a drop in prices, like you mentioned, albeit, marginal. Sometimes you have 2%, other times 3%, 4%. What we are going to witness from today might be quite significant in that we are expecting, especially diesel, to drop by about 8.3, 8.5%. We are also looking at petrol doing some 4%, and then LPG likewise doing about 10%. So in a nutshell, we are looking at diesel dropping by about 1 cedi, at least, minimum, all right? And we want to appeal to the OMCs, just as they respond to increments here and there, where there's a decrease. We want to appeal to them. Why does it take forever for them to reflect same at the pumps? Okay, so I want to use your medium to appeal to OMCs and especially the association itself to bring their members in line, to bring them in check, to make sure they reduce the prices at the pumps. It's 8 this morning. I've checked almost all the fuel stations. I haven't seen anything reflecting as of now. And I wish that just as they do when it's about to go up, they should do same when it's supposed to go down. Now, as to why we are witnessing...
Do they have any window? Okay, when prices are dropping, is there a window within which they are supposed to reflect same at the pump?
Immediately. It's supposed to be immediate.
It's supposed to be immediate, right?
Yes. So the window is supposed to start on the 16th. The second window of May is supposed to start on the 16th. Today is 16th.
Yeah.
All right. So before we even wake up, we're expecting to see the prices reflecting at the pumps. By 6 a.m., it should reflect. I don't see why. I mean, calculations have been done over the period, somewhere 14th and 15th. That was yesterday. And so by now, there should have been a consensus, within the various OMCs as to exactly what price to give out to consumers. And if, as at 8 a.m., we are not witnessing that change, we are not witnessing that drop in prices, then I don't know what's holding them. And that is why I wish that the COMAC, the Chamber of Oil Marketing Associations, whip their members in line, and especially so the National Petroleum Authority also, put them in check. Because as their regulatory body, you are supposed to make sure that those within the downstream respect the deregulation policy that we are all abiding by.
Right, so let's look at the contributing factors, okay? Are we seeing changes in the global FOB prices? That is, trickling down to our local situation?
Okay, so it's not just about the FOB prices dropping, but a whole lot of factors contributing to the drop we are witnessing, at the pumps. Largely, yes, the FOB prices have been dropping consistently over the period, and it's largely due to the war we are witnessing, not war, but the tariff war between China and, of course, the US is also a contributing factor. As a result of that, China is not consuming, if you like, demanding the product as they used to. And so you have demand being lower, and then you have supply. OPEC nations are also increasing their supply onto the market. And so you have supply outstripping demand. And when that happens, you see that there's always a fall in the prices of the product. But where you have demand going up, that is, you see India and then China consuming, these two nations alone, when they begin to produce, when they begin to increase production, it leads to the demand of the product going high. Right. And then when you also have OPEC nations not putting so much onto the market, that is where the challenge lies, and then we see prices go up. So at that front, yes, they are not demanding, so prices are going to go down. From the beginning of the year, we're witnessing the crude price to be around 80, playing around 74, 76. But now we are witnessing some 60, 62, per barrel, dollar to a barrel. Again, the FOB prices of finished petroleum products, we are also witnessing petrol, for instance, doing somewhere 680, 690, diesel doing 580, 570, which are all good, okay? And these are the driving factors that is pushing. And again, quite significant is our cedi. Between second window of March, we witnessed the cedi gain some stability, if you like, appreciate. And the latter part of April, that is the second window of April, we witnessed same. And then from there, that trajectory has continued even till now. And that is why between the last pricing window, that is the first week of May, and then now we have seen the cedi appreciate by about 12%. And that is huge as far as our sector, the downstream sector is concerned. And so combining all of those factors vis-a-vis the changes on the international market and all of that, we came to a conclusion that at the pumps, we are hoping and expecting the oil marketing companies to reduce petrol by 4% and diesel by 8.5, to 9%, and then LPG also by 10%. And these are, denominators that push us to come to that conclusion, in that even Bloomberg, Platt, Seaboard, NPA have all confirmed that prices on the international markets have dropped. And it's quite significant. That is why we are pushing the OMCs to respond same. All right? That's like a desical attitude. I don't want to use that word on the part of OMCs, always trying to play ball with consumers. It wouldn't wash. And it ought not to be so, my brother. It's been the case that the minute prices are supposed to go up, by the time you wake up, it's already reflecting at the pumps. Okay? Where it is supposed to go down, then it becomes a challenge. You've been enjoying this windfall for only God knows how long. So when there's some form of respite for the ordinary consumer, we expect them to do right by the people. How is this so much to ask, our oil marketing companies? That as at 8 a.m. this morning, we are not witnessing the change that we expect them to do. And we've also seen a bit of, if you like, some level of adamant on the part of the regulator. And I wish that it can also be proactive on that score and bring all the players in line, just so the deregulation policy we started in 2015, which has been working over the last almost 10 years. By June, July, we will be 10 years, you know, as a deregulated market. So we want them to respect the laws. We want them to respect the policy. They should also give some form of respite and some form of, you know, relief to consumers by way of reducing prices at the pumps.
Could it get better? Could it go down further? I'm asking because of if you look at the price build-up and the tax components on fuel prices in the country.
Well, it could. It could if we are to do or put our acts right. You know, internally we have control, but externally we do not. Okay, since we are a net importing country. It is the case that necessarily we have to be importing finished products onto the market. Unfortunately, we do not have our refineries, you know, being at par. And that's a huge challenge if we are to be refining crude. Look at the price of crude now. Crude is somewhere, what, $60, $62 dollars per barrel. Initially, it used to be around 80-something. This is a good time for us to be importing more crude and be refining. Okay, so there's been one lip service or the other over the period on the part of
successive governments.
Our government. Okay, so if it is the case that there's that political will on the part of our leaders to making sure we bring Tor on stream, we give the needed attention to even the private ones like Centio, Platoon and the Aquaba and the likes. Perhaps the $400 million we use in importing finished petroleum products onto the market every month, we'll see some form of reduction, if not halved. Okay, if Tor should come on stream, we should be able to satisfy about 50 to 70% of the market. Tor is working, Centio is working, all the other private refineries are working. I do not see the need for us to be importing finished petroleum products onto the market. We should be able to satisfy the market internally. That way, we reduce the cost of importing the product, the cost involved, you know, haulage, insurance, and all of those factors that contribute to hikes in prices. So my admonishment is that Tor should come on stream, the other be out there. That way, where you have the CD also stabilizing, and then perhaps we are also witnessing government policies tightening, you know, here and there, trying to cushion consumers. Of course, we should see some
further drop.
Yes, in the price. I can tell on authority that by the next window, again, we are going to witness, you know, a drop in price. However, I cannot say same for the month of July, in that because of the fluctuations on the market, we do not know how long the tariff war is going to last. It is possible that we wake up one morning and China and US have signed an agreement in terms of the tariff. When that happens, the dollar will gain some form of strength. And we see globally it's weakened, even though it's beginning to pick up, you know, slightly. And it's giving some form of hope and good news to our currency, because over the period we've appreciated by about 10 to 15%, which is great so far. And I wish that we are able to maintain the momentum going into the remaining months of the year. What government has done over the period since the beginning of the year is to cut down on expenditure. Government is not spending. And when government begins to spend, we do not know how it is going to look at. I mean, we have the big push. We have all other issues the government, initiatives government wants to embark on. When the government begins to push funds and resources to some of these initiatives, it means that the expenditure is going to go up. And when the expenditure goes up, definitely, be it fiscal or monetary, we are going to be affected in one way or the other. And if we see the city still gaining strength or being stable, even when government is spending, then we can tell that, yes, the managers of the economy are doing so great. But for now...
And that would be heavily dependent on the availability of Forex.
Exactly. And for now, if government is able to maintain its fiscal policies is able to maintain the monetary policies, from the BOG and all of that, then it means that in the coming months also, we will witness some form of drop in prices at the pumps if all other factors are to be taken into consideration.
Right. Now, we've spoken about the fiscal discipline in the system and, of course, the CD gains. But I wanted you to touch on the price build-up itself. Currently, if you're looking at the tax and the levies, the tax component on the, fuel prices, it's around somewhere 23%. Correct me if I'm wrong, but could something be done about this?
Nana, you are right. Taxes and levies alone on the price build-up, like you mentioned, contributes about 23, 24, 25%. And we have said over time that where you have petrol alone taking about 3 cedis, 27 pesos, as taxes and levies, and then you have diesel also doing about 3 cedis, 25 pesos. You have LPG doing about 2 cedis, 80 pesos. It's quite significant. All right, we are paying all these taxes, and let's assume that we are buying the fuel for, say, 10 cedis. Let's assume. If you are buying a liter of fuel for 10 cedis, then it means 3 cedis, 27 pesos of that 10 cedis is going in as taxes. That is even per liter. And we have implored government over the period to reconsider some of the taxes, on the price buildup. As we speak, we are still paying for energy sector levy, energy debt recovery levy, energy fund, sanitation and pollution levy, price stabilization and recovery levy. You ask yourself, government says that, listen, there are times on the international market, prices go up so much so that it affects even the BDCs. So, in a way to cushion consumers, let's introduce a levy or a tax called the price stabilization and recovery levy, so that it becomes a win-win situation for both the importing community and then the consuming community. So it's brought in the price stabilization and recovery levy.
But how does it work in a deregulated system?
Thank you. Ask yourself, since its inception, since its introduction, it was just to cover for a certain period, so that when it ends, we will know whether indeed it's brought in the needed relief both importers and consumers were looking out for. Sadly, however, that government left office. A new government came in with the hope that it will take some of those quote and unquote nuisance taxes off. They are still there. And we are still paying. And you ask yourself, when was the last time government said that, listen, my people, you've been suffering for so much and so long, so I am taking off the price stabilization and recovery levy so I can give some form of relief to you consumers. The last time it did that was somewhere 2022, and it was suspended for just about 2 months. Okay, just 2 months. And it was brought back. We were hoping that special petroleum tax, because they have outlived their usefulness as far as they coming onto the price build-up is concerned, price stabilization and recovery levy, sanitation and pollution levy. Just look around. You see filth all over. Let it rain for a couple of days. Filth all over. Yet we are paying 10 pesos every single liter you buy. And it's been running for so many years, we are not seeing any form of result out there. So tell me why we are still paying for that sanitation and pollution levy. Okay, we can make a case for a number of these taxes and levies on the price build-up as to why they ought not to be there. But government tells you that, unfortunately, we had to use the ESLA, that is the Energy Sector Levy, the Act, to mortgage, and take some form of loan to redress some of the issues within the energy space.
It's worrying because, so what, realistically, so let's break it down so that the consumer out there gets a clear picture of it. If I'm buying 10 cedis worth of petrol this morning.
That's per liter. Yes.
Per liter.
Yes.
More than 2 Ghana cedis of that is not fuel.
No, it's not. It's three cities, 27 pesos.
3 cities, 27 pesos.
Yes, taxes and levies alone.
It's not fuel going into my car.
No, that's
it is taxes I am paying.
Yes.
So if I pay 10 Ghana cedis, I'm only getting about 6 cedis worth of fuel.
Yes, just around that figure. Because 3 cities, 27 pesos goes in as taxes and levies, and then 3 cities, 25 pesos goes in as taxes and levies for diesel. So if you go out there to fill your cylinder,
right,
you are also equally paying some level of taxes, and that's about 2 cities, 80 pesos per every liter you buy. Not kilogram, per every liter you buy. So it's quite sad, my brother, that as we speak, we are doing somewhere around 12 cities 80, 12 cities 50 pesos per liter, you know, out there. We are hopeful that when the new prices come, we will see the prices drop to some appreciable level. When that happens, our taxes and levies are not going to change. They are still going to remain the same. And you are going to be paying the 3 cities 27 pesos per liter of petrol that you buy. And if I am also a diesel user, it means I'm going to be paying 3 cities 25 pesos as taxes and levies to government. It is possible for government to take a second look at the price buildup. Okay, the various components that make up the taxes and levies, the 3 cities 25 pesos I mentioned for diesel. It is possible for government to take a second look at it and review, because I remember vividly during the campaigning season, the government now, or should I say the then candidate, did say that he was going to take a second look at the price build-up, you know, at the various fora that it held. And I'm hopeful that it will take a second look at the various components of the price build-up, so that we can take some of the taxes off. We are paying 46 pesos for special petroleum tax. You ask yourself, since its inception, really what has been the purpose of that tax? It was to serve a particular need. It has outlived that purpose. It ought to be taken off. Price stabilization and recovery levy. What are we stabilizing? Okay, what really are we stabilizing? We need to give some comfort to the consumer out there. We as an advocacy group, we as a consumer group, we will always advocate for the rights of the ordinary consumer, because they cannot speak. And this is the only forum that we have to push government into doing the right thing. And the right thing is to take in a second look at the various taxes and levies that make up the 3 cities 25 pesos and 3 cities 27 pesos on petrol that we go out there to buy. Some of them have to go. Okay, let's get toll running, get the various private refineries also running. Let's cut down importing finished petroleum products onto the market. It is so expensive. We cannot sustain it. That way, we will have a way of reducing the prices internally. Mind you, crude is doing somewhere around 60, 62.
Yeah, dollars per barrel.
Per barrel. If we are to be bringing in more crude, refining, okay, I see no reason why we should be buying petrol and diesel at 15 and 14 cedis and the likes. It's unheard of. Okay, let that political will be there. Combat has now taken charge as the CEO of TOR. We want to see some level of proactiveness on that score. Afechi is also at Bost. We want to see them expand, their facilities, just so we can accommodate more and store some of these products as and when they become due. If we are refining and we are not getting places to store them, then it becomes a challenge. But where you have facilities, I mentioned here some time back that the best time for us to have been energy sufficient was during the COVID season. Guess what? We had a whole lot of time on our hands to have expanded our storage facilities so that at the time when even FOBs were doing negative, crude was doing negative, we could have been importing more. Okay, and then storing them for this kind of season we find ourselves. Do you recall in this country, we're buying a liter of fuel in this country for over 25 cedis? In this our country, an oil producing country. buying a liter of fuel for 25 cedis.
Yeah.
How much can you buy for a gallon? Okay, so the time is now for government to sit back and take a second look at, the refining aspect, the storage aspect, and then we, the consuming public.
Very well.
Okay, so that where there's a need for us to take a second look at reviewing the price build-up on the various components, as taxes and levies, we can do that. Where we need to resource store and all other refineries in the country, look at Nigeria, Dangote Refinery.
Yeah.
It's doing so well.
Yeah.
Okay, all the bottlenecks that were on the way of Dangote Refinery has been taken off, and it's doing so well. Prices are down in Nigeria. We are not saying that we want to see some kind of surprise in our country. No, it takes a bit of time.
Yeah.
So we want to see government take that initiative. Let's bring back TOR.
Very well.
Okay, it told us that it was looking for a strategic investor to be able to bring in the needed investment at TOR. By now, we want to see some level of something being done at that level.
Right. Paul, let me just chip in here that we've made attempts to get the NPA. We've made attempts to get COMAC, Dr. Riverson and his people to join us, but we're still having some difficulty regarding that. But I'm going to open the phone lines now. I want you to call in and tell us how the recent drop in fuel prices has affected your purchasing power, or if indeed you do understand what it means to you when there's a drop in fuel prices. All right, so the number is on your screen: 0302 784 969, 0302 784 969. Call us and let us know what you think about the recent drop in fuel prices. But Paul, has the deregulation helped us?
Largely yes. And I'm saying yes because hitherto we were paying subsidies, at various fronts as a government or as an economy, and really we were suffering. On that level, we were suffering as a country, paying these huge, subsidies in order that petrol prices can remain either stable or lower. And it was hurting us so much. So yes, taking off the subsidies government was paying and was struggling to pay, and in the end we had to introduce taxes here and there to offset those ones. It is good on that score. Again, we have also witnessed some level of competition among the various OMCs. Even though we could have done better with our numbers. A small country like Ghana is, we have in excess of over 200 oil marketing companies. Maybe you didn't know, but I'm telling you, yes.
Over 200?
Over 200 oil marketing companies in this country. The BDCs, the ones who import the products into the market, we also have over 50 of them.
Wow.
And it's just, yes, it's too much. Okay, so there's the need to also look at that, but let me not digress. The competition at that level is great because, for so many years, you had oil being the leader, on the market. But as we speak, a small fish like Star Oil has come in strongly and is now leading the market. Would you have thought that?
Hold that thought for me. Issa is calling us from Wale Wale. Good morning, Issa. How are you doing?
Yeah, good morning, sir. I'm doing very fine, and thank you for the opportunity.
Right. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, I want to commend Mr. Eric for actually for the discussion and for the explanation has given to some of the things we're seeing in the energy sector. I think it's very important that we get ourselves abreast with some of these issues. And then I want to entreat government to try and invest massively in that aspect. This is the time. We have the crude oil, price of crude oil reduced at the world market. This is time for them to invest seriously in that sector so that as time goes on, I'm sure, things, when the tariff was over, we may see things, the price of things going up again. But if we have enough of crude oil stored in our country, I think we will not be shocked by any further appreciation of price of anything at the world market.
Very well, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm grateful.
Right. So that's Issa's contribution to it. He wants us to shore up our reserves and to store more crude. Okay, but let's wrap up on the deregulation and then the competition that it brings.
Yes, so you realize that by virtue of the deregulation policy, we see, if you like, that level of playing field where in order that we are able to create a niche for ourselves as OMCs, we tend to reduce, sometimes even shelve our margins just so we can get rid of the product in our various depots. It's been great so far. However, the issue I have personally had with the OMCs has to do with when there's supposed to be a drop in prices. It takes them forever to reflect same at the pumps.
Right. But
But when prices are supposed to go up, before you wake up the next morning, it's already reflecting. And that has been my challenge. Quite apart from that, it's been able to drive that level of competition that we were all looking for. Yes.
Let's speak to Peter. Peter is calling us from Suhum. Peter, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, Peter, have you bought fuel today?
Not yet.
Okay.
I'm waiting for the price to come down before I'll go to the pump.
Very well, very well. Talk to us about your own observations and
All right. Good morning to you guys. Yes, it's a very nice and interesting, very educative conversation this morning. Yes. I just want to make some inquiries with regards to the pump price. Yes. When you go to the major fuel pumps, that is Shell, Total, and Goil, you see their prices a little bit higher as compared to other pumps. I just don't want to mention it.
Right.
So my question is, what is the differences causing that price variation?
Okay.
I was told because of some treatments they do to their fuel before they bring to we the consumers. And my second question is, can there be a regulation that there will be a price cap with regards to whatever treatment they've given to the poor before they give to we the consumers?
All right.
Can there be a government regulation giving them a cap that, irrespective of the treatment you've given to your poor, you cannot exceed this price?
Very well.
And good morning to my big boss, Eric. My former speaker at Accra Police.
Oh, wow.
This Amor Peter Mylon. Good morning.
Good morning, bro. Good morning, bro.
Speaker. So he had two questions for you.
Yes.
The price variation between the various OMCs, the big players always having higher prices than the others. And he's also inquiring whether there could be a cap regarding the treatment. I'm sure he's talking about the V-Power and the RON 95 or 96 for Goil.
Okay, thank you. I mean, it's a great question he put out there. Sometimes most people, most consumers wonder why OMC A's price differs from OMC B. It's all about branding.
Right.
Okay, it's all about branding. Besides, the product in A is the same product in B or at B. The products are no different. Listen, the days when we used to have adulteration and all of that are all gone. So on the market now, I can tell you on authority that all the products are the same.
Right.
What they do by way of the additions here and there are their individual branding stuff that they do.
Right.
But largely the products are the same. Now, the price differences or price variations is just because of competition.
Right.
Okay, because I've been in the market for so long as a player, I've been able to create that niche, so I know my customers, my consumers.
Right.
And so I serve them a certain level of, service, or I give them a certain level of service. So let's say RON 95. The RON 95 I'm giving to consumer A, and the RON 91 or 90 that another OMC is giving a consumer B out there are not the same.
Right.
So when we go, please, let's ask, is this RON 95 or RON 91 or RON 90?
Right.
That way you know which price to buy.
Exactly.
Because in most of the stations, they only sell the RON 91 and RON 90.
Okay.
And when you go to some of the outlets, you find their prices going up because they have RON 95 and the likes. Yes.
Let's talk to Samuel. Samuel is calling us from Dowinya. Good morning, Samuel.
Yeah, good morning, my brother. How are you?
Very well, thank you. I trust you're well too.
By the grace of God.
Great. Speak to us. What's your own observation?
Yeah, in fact, I'm surprised this morning about my brother saying we have about 200 OMCs.
OMCs, yes.
Then my brother, I'm asking, can we bring toll back? Because most of these companies are owned by, I would say, even though I don't know, but we've invented most of our politicians. Let's say so. So with this number of companies, can we bring toll back? Because I believe any attempt, they will sabotage it. So I'm asking, can toll be brought back? That's my question this morning. With this large number of OMCs.
Well,
Thank you.
all right, thank you, Samuel. Well, quite a significant one, if you ask me. I mean, if you have these number of market players within the space who are all, of course, profit-making or profit-oriented organizations.
Right.
Of course, they would want to enjoy the space they are in, and so would not be too happy to have a state refinery in the system. But you and I know the benefits of having TOR back on stream.
You see, TOR's coming back has to be a government initiative.
Very well.
Okay. Now, with the number of OMCs, they do not have anything whatsoever with TOR. At that space or at that level, the relationship is usually between the BDCs and TOR. So we have the refiner, and then we have the bulk distribution companies, and then we have the OMCs. So it's the value chain or the supply chain is in that order. So from the refinery,
who's at the level of TOR? The BDC.
TOR becomes a refinery.
Right.
So the refiner, then the BDCs, then the OMCs, before we the consumers. Okay. So I, as an OMC, I cannot go straight to TOR and pick a product.
No.
So it has to go through the BDC before I can get the product.
Yeah, the off-takers.
Yes. So the number of OMCs really have no correlation with TOR. However, it has to meet the demand. That is, if it's able to refine. So with about 48,000 barrels per day capacity, I see no reason why TOR shouldn't be able to serve the market.
Right.
I mean, it's not like it's going to serve 100% of the market, but at least it can do about 50 to 70% of the market. Then the BDCs can import the remaining deficit to shore up whatever our demands are as a country.
Emmanuel, good morning. Emmanuel is calling from Oyarifa. Do we still have Emmanuel? Unfortunately, we've lost Emmanuel. Yes, but we're looking at a TOR coming back on stream and its contribution to one, availability, and then two, a possible reduction in the prices.
The caller was concerned about the number of OMCs vis-a-vis TOR coming back. And I can assure him that, yes, there's every possibility for TOR to come back. But like I said earlier, it has to be a deliberate and intentional government decision that, listen, I want my refinery to work. And that is why it has come back to us that it is looking for a strategic investor to make sure that it brings in the needed funding to revamp TOR.
Usually when government says it's looking for a strategic investor, people get worried, especially workers of the organization to which this investor is being sought after. Most often than not, the suspicion is that the company is about to be sold off. Are you getting these sentiments?
Yes. We've had this debate time and time again, you know. But
hold on, before you answer that, let me go to Sandema. Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Yes, sir. What's your name? And tell us your experience or your own observations.
Morning. My name is Danlad.
Danlad. Hello.
I want to contribute to the fund.
Right. Kindly turn down the volume of your TV set and listen to us through the phone.
Yes, please.
Right. Please go ahead.
I want to commend our guests on the stadium for doing the best. Because some of the oil refiners don't want the truth. And they should try and then bring about the system. So that will help us to get good to that.
Very well, very well. You're commending for, and we're having
you.
a bit of a challenge with your line, but point well noted. Thank you so much. Yes, so let's do
yes. So with the staff, okay, there were court issues here and they had to get to a point where even the OSP had to be invited, you know, to come in. And from what we are gathering, it is not a complete sale of Tor. That I can say on authority, that it is not a complete sale of Tor. It is aspects of the operations of Tor that is going to go into private hands to making sure the operations of Tor come back on stream. And I want to admonish our folks at Tor when we are able to come up with that investor. And I also want to make sure and even let the government know that we are monitoring, we are looking at the issues surrounding whoever is chosen as the investor with keen eyes. We want to make sure the processes are as transparent as ever. We do not want any sole sourcing, whatever, to bring in somebody, quote and unquote, a political figure.
To go through the tendering process.
So let the selection be as transparent as possible. Let the processes be transparent. Let everybody know who has that financial wherewithal, the muscles to be able to revamp Tor, to bring it back on stream. That's all we are asking for.
Bro, Paul, let's hear from Emmanuel calling from Ashaiman. Emmanuel, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you so much for calling us.
Yeah, I just like the guy's analysis over there, Mr. Fori's analysis.
Right.
Is very, very, he's giving us a very, very authentic of the Tor. And my suggestion is that the government should put money into the Tor, so at the end of the day, the OMC and other marketing companies must know that we are the Ghanaians. We can benefit our own product. That's my suggestion. Thank you very much.
Very well, Emmanuel. Thank you too. Thank you too.
So generally, you see, everyone seems to align with the notion that Tor has to come back on stream, and it's true. It's high time we have the nation's asset.
If Tor is running at full throttle,
yes,
what is the capacity?
I mentioned it earlier, 48,000 barrels per day.
Per day?
Yes, it can do that. Okay, and if Sentio is working, Tor is working, Platoon is working, Akwaba is working, what stops us from satisfying the demand in country? Okay, if we are able to do even about 70% of the market, listen, we are importing finished petroleum products every month at a cost of $400 million, not even cedis.
Yeah.
$400 million. If you keep sending out dollars every month, you know, 400 million, how are you going to sustain your economy?
By the CD.
Okay, how are you going to strengthen your city? So almost all the time, your city is falling.
Right.
And it's as a result of some of these things, you are virtually taking everything out. But where you are importing just the product itself, the crude, the primary product. To refine, so you can get diesel out of it, you can get LPG, you can get diesel. Okay, we wouldn't need so much to be importing. We would need maybe half of it or less in importing the crude, you know, for us to refine, and then we can supply the market as and when the need arises. But as we speak, we are doing every month 400 million.
So if we're refining locally, that means we're importing the raw material to refine to get diesel, petrol, LPG.
And the likes.
That will halve the demand on Forex.
Yes.
Reduce the pressure on the CD.
On the CD, yes.
Allow the CD to gain some stability in the system.
Yes.
So it's a win-win situation if we revive Tor.
Totally, totally. But the challenge has always been our leaders.
Right.
You see, there's also that speculation out there that governments, you know, disinterest in bringing Tor back on stream is as a result of, quote and unquote, some of the BDCs being financiers of some of the political parties. It's a speculation out there. But we don't want to, you know, hinge our argument on that.
Put our national interest ahead of whatever it is.
So we want to appeal to government that, listen, you made that commitment to the people of Ghana during your campaign that you'll be bringing Tor back on stream. We've seen some semblance of that by way of appointing and then also coming up with a committee. Yes, Combat is still there. Coming up with a committee to spearhead, you know, the bringing in of that strategic investor. We want to appeal that it continues that commitment, that even before the year ends, we get to know of that strategic investor, just so we can see Tor doing something, and then we can bring some relief to the Ghanaian cedi. We can bring prices down, not significantly, but at least to some appreciable level. Yes.
Let me go to Tamale and speak to Idris. Idris will be our last caller, and then I'll come back to you, and then we can wrap it up. Okay. Hello, Idris. That's quite unfortunate. Forgive us. Apologies for keeping you on the line for that long. But Paul, let me come back to you. We're wrapping up the conversation regarding petroleum pricing. What does the drop in fuel prices mean to the consumer out there, and does it have any significant impact on the purchasing power of the consumer? That's my final question.
So fuel is virtually the driver of everything in our country. It cuts across every facet of the economy. And so where we are able to get fuel prices down, I mean, food prices also go down, transport fares goes down. It affects virtually every aspect of the economy. And that is why we are critical about making sure OMCs do what is needed of them. We are hopeful that since we have seen cumulatively about 26% drop in prices since the middle of February, we are also hoping that transport unions will respond same. Spare parts dealers will do same. Those at the food chain level will also begin to reduce prices. It has to cut across board. Okay, inflation can come down when some of these things, those within the chain respond to the call. The drop in prices, we are hopeful that between now and Monday will be reflecting at all the pumps. We are also admonishing the driver unions, transport operators, to take a second look at their price. They need to readjust their price to reflect the current or prevailing prices at the pumps. If you are getting prices reduced by about 26%, what stops driver unions to also do something? Maybe 10-15% drop in fares. The last time they did that was somewhere December 2022. We are asking them to look at it from that level, that we consistently prices have been falling over the last 6 windows. And we are asking them that when prices go up, we are the same people who push for them to get what they need. In the same light, we are asking them to reconsider their fares. Reduce same between 10% and 15% is reasonable. Food sellers, those at Okanshi, those at the various markets, Medina, Agbogboloshi, and the likes. Fuel prices are going down. We also want to see prices of foodstuffs also go down. Rice and the likes, millet, maize, corn, all of that, they must go down to reflect same at the pumps. We are also pushing government that you need to be out there educating, the people, since you cannot bring in price controls. And this time I'm speaking to the Ministry of Trade, okay, to take a second look at some of these players within the space, that it is high time they responded to the call of the fall in price of petrol, that their wares must also go down. We cannot wait for 2 months. We cannot wait for a month. The time for them to reduce their prices is now.
Very well. Thank you very much. Paul Eric Ofori is the head of research and training at the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers. Quite an interesting conversation. I'm sure you've learned a thing or two this morning. Thank you so much, Paul, and we wish you all the best. And of course, many thanks to you for staying with us.